Hey guys, Andrew Escovelli here, back with another review, and today I'm going to be reviewing the GPPOWER LED headlight conversion kit to convert your halogen headlights in your car over to LEDs. Now, first off, let's go over the specifications. Each bulb produces 4,000 lumens, pulls 40 watts. It has an estimated lifespan of about 30,000 hours, comes with a 1-year warranty, and today we're going to be working once again with the infamous 9007 socket, which is known for compatibility issues, and we'll get into that in just a moment. So, let's talk about the actual physical design of all of this. The controller is integral to the heatsink, so it's built in. The controller will be subjected to more heat, but will also have fans to dissipate the heat on the bottom. This is a fanned design. What's nice about this is there's no dangling cords. You got a short cord here, which is what you want. The cord is nice and braided and is not skimping out right near the connection where you see a lot of exposed wires. So far that's good. All the LEDs are fully encased in glass, which is nice. You don't see a lot of manufacturers doing that. Here's the thing about LEDs. When your car is designed to use halogen headlights, it's designed with the intent that the light will be spread out 360 degrees. Meaning, if you look at the bottom here, a circle is 360 degrees. It means that the light is being beamed out at all the points. So the light should be beaming out everywhere, all 360 degrees outward from the center. And this is where LEDs have a hard time trying to mimic halogens, and when they don't mimic halogens properly, you get scattered beams and patchy spots, which is not good. Now, what's interesting about this one is the first corncob style LED that I've had the pleasure of trying to use. It's got 4 sides, and each side has a diode. So that's going to be interesting because that means there's more light coverage all around it to try and get as much light 360 degrees around. But the one problem I see is I was expecting this to be a square. So if you were to look from the top down, I would imagine to see a square shape. Looking at it, it's actually in the shape of a rhombus, which is a little off-putting because I've had ones that were 3-sided, and I expected them to be an equilateral triangle, and I got a completely different design. It wasn't equilateral at all. It was isosceles, and because of that, there were dark spots. So, let's talk about how to put this in your vehicle really quick, because this is always an important part to talk about with these kits, because they say they're plug and play, but most of the time they're really not. So normally with an LED, you would plug it into the socket, and then you would take your circular retainer ring, or your circular retainer lock, and you would put it over the LED and lock it in place, and then you would plug the power into it. But with LEDs that use a heatsink fan design, that's never the case. It's never that simple, because you can't simply slide the circular retainer lock in place because of the heatsink. And normally, the manufacturers of LEDs have little tricks to make it so that you can slide this on. In some cases, you would twist the gasket portion and it would come loose, and you can take it off, and then you'd be able to slide this over and the gasket would go over. In some cases, with these glass portions, you would unscrew the top right here, and that would allow you to remove the glass, and then that would undo the holding for the gasket. In this particular one, I am a bit confused because I'm looking at the bottom here, and it's hard to see, but you'll see white goo, and that's epoxy. They have the gasket epoxied to the heatsink, meaning I can't remove this gasket. I tried twisting it hard each way, and you know, it's not coming loose because I don't think they wanted it to. And the portion of the glass on top right here has wires and stuff, so it's a little different than some of the other designs that I've seen, and I don't think that this portion is supposed to allow the glass to come off and slide off like other designs. So I'm left wondering how exactly they expect me to get the circular retainer lock on. So normally the problem would be that the retainer lock in my Mitsubishi Outlander has these ridges that are raised up on these three pieces. And I'd have to file them down in order to make room in between the gasket and the heatsink, and that would be the only problem, and I'd just slide it in place. But with this one, we come with a much heavier challenge, which means since this doesn't come off, you got to go even further, which means I have to cut and shave the circular retainer lock to fit in place. But even this has proven to be fruitless, because I can try getting this on by trying to push this into place underneath the gasket, in between the gasket and the heatsink. Sorry, bad camera angle there. But it doesn't go all the way in, and even though this one is filed down, it requires it to be filed down even further, to the point where the plastic's just going to break off. Because I can take the other part, because this is put into 2/3 of a piece and then 1/3 of a piece. If I were to put this 1/3 of a piece in, it's still too thick, even though it's been filed down. So cutting it isn't going to work to put the retainer lock on. There's no way to take the gasket off because it's epoxied in place. So it's left me wondering, how in the world could they possibly say that this is a 9007 socket compatible? If you look in the box here, it says 9007, all in one. If I look at the instructions, which really aren't that much of a help, because we've got these little warranty cards in the back. So I guess, yeah, distributor warranty cards. They have information for retainer systems that use these metal clips, and that's about it. But they have to know that that's not the only type of retainer system they got to work with here, right? I mean, if they're doing 9007, every 9007 socket has a circular retainer lock, whether it's from Mitsubishi or an American vehicle. So how exactly do they expect me to get this to work? I can't just put it in with the gasket and expect it to hold in place. One good bump, and this is going to be jostled and fall right out. So there's no way to put this on, guys. They failed into the design. I mean, I seriously took a look at it, and I'm seriously trying to figure it out. And I've been stumped by a few of them before, but I've always figured out something. But this is legitimately epoxied. This gasket is not designed to come off, even though at one point this gasket could come off. The epoxy is holding it in place. And here's the thing. If the epoxy is the only thing holding it in place, let's say I broke it free from the epoxy, and then I slide it back down. Well, now there's nothing to hold the gasket in place, and even if I did get the circular retainer lock in place now, it wouldn't do any good because this needs to stay in place. So this whole design is completely flawed from the very get-go. And it's really sad because this is actually very well built. The aluminum that it's made from is very sturdy. The braiding of the cable is brilliant. There's no exposed wires. It's got LEDs on 4 sides instead of 3. And like I said, I wish it was in the shape of a square instead of a rhombus, because you can see it's angled here. It shouldn't be angled. It should be just all 4 sides to try and mimic a halogen, in my opinion. But there's nothing I can do. So this is the first time that I seriously can't even put this in my vehicle. Every other LED I've been able to put in my vehicle, but this one is, seriously, I can't do it. So I'm really sorry, guys, but I'm not even going to be able to test the performance of this thing. I mean, I could just slide it in and see how bright it is, but at the end of the day, what good does that do you if you can't put the retainer lock on? So I guess this is where the review ends. Sorry. This is just awful. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Take a look at my other LED reviews that I've done. Maybe those will be way more helpful. But thanks for watching, commenting, subscribing. You know, check out my other videos, show your friends. And hey, I'll see you next time. Drive safe.